Hey everyone, and welcome to a Premodern Magic Online Best of 5 match. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'll be playing my friend Lester today, and the deck I'll be piloting is a blue-black Psychatog deck. I'm not sure exactly what Lester is playing, but we'll find out. Looks like he has won the die roll and has chose to keep his 7-card hand. I have a 1-land hand that has a 4-spike and some other counterspells, but I would need to draw a good number of lands, I think, for this to really work out pretty smoothly, so I'm going to mulligan. Alright, this hand does not have a pain-free way of casting these mental notes. So that is something I need to consider. I think I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to put this counterspell at the bottom. There are a lot of counterspells in this deck, so I will see more, and I just want to be able to cast my spells, I think, early if I can. Okay, Surprising Scary. So this is usually in combo decks that you're looking to give up the long-term advantage for a short gain of adding 2 mana twice. Alright, I do have a Polluted Delta. I am going to get an island right away. Just in the off chance that there's something like a Stifle. But I'll pass the turn and see if we can figure out exactly what Lester is up to over here. The decks that I can think of that would play the Surprising Scary, Dream Halls is a mono blue combo deck. I've seen some versions of like Tinker, because the John Finkel version. Okay, here has Sleight of Hand. Okay, so I think that would fit into the Dream Halls deck, and a lot less likely to be a Tinker deck. There usually just isn't room for cards like Sleight of Hand and Tinker. All right, and a turn on Mental Note. 2 Cephalid Coliseums. I only have 2 in this list, so those are both gone. And here I will play an Underground River so that I have Counterspell up in the off chance of him trying to slam something right away. I think it's better just to kind of set up defenses than to try and put a Mishra's Factory into play. Alright, so here's a Temple. So here's another land that can get 2 mana. So I'm thinking Dream Halls at this point. But I think my counter spells are going to be really important, and my removal spells less so. Okay, so here I'll play the Mishra's Factory. I'm not going to play the Psychatog yet. I do have the option of boomeranging a land at some point. Ooh, this is exciting. I also have accumulated knowledge in my deck, so I had milled a 4-spike and a Cunning Wish, so he was only drawing 1. But my accumulated knowledge could feed off of his, and vice versa. But I'm kind of looking for a spot of. I think at this spot maybe I just want to like boomerang a temple, and then play Psychatog with a Circular Logic backup. So we can combat. Because he would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana at most. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll just do this tempo play of bouncing this temple. Since it comes into play tapped, he won't be able to use it next turn. I guess it's a little bit awkward if he counters my Psychatog in this spot. I guess I hadn't considered that. But I guess he'd have to lose this land to do it, so I should be okay then. Alright, so I will. I guess I could play around Wasteland and take. Yeah, I don't think my life total is that big of a resource. I think it's very unlikely that he has something like Wasteland, but I think my life total is not that important, that I'd rather just do it this way. Also, I don't know if we'll come down to the exact situation, but if I had to discard a swamp as compared to a Polluted Delta, the Polluted Delta puts a card in the graveyard, while the swamp wouldn't. So it's an extra half. It's halfway there to an extra +1/+1. So if I get to untap, then I'm in good shape. That I'll always have Counterspell and Circular Logic on the same turn, as long as I have blue, blue, blue. And so I'll spend my turn attacking with Mishra's Factory and Psychatog. There's 8 cards in hand for Lester. There is an Ancient Tomb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a Lotus Petal. That's not something I considered. Yep, I'm not gonna Circular Logic a Lotus Petal, I guess. So he definitely could have a Counterspell back up here, but I still would be able to cast a Counterspell with a Dream Halls in play once, and that might be enough. I don't know. Okay, looks like he's not going for anything. And I do have a Boomerang, so I'm going to play this Swamp. The black mana doesn't really do me any good in this spot. And I'll attack. I have 9 cards in my graveyard, so I'm not looking at lethal yet. Okay, so he's casting Opportunity. So the thing is, what he used is, I think, if I'm only really concerned about Dream Halls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's just easier to let this go, and then just try and have 2 counter spells for Dream Halls. Because it seems like it's pretty unlikely that he would have 2 counter spells. So I'm going to let the Opportunity resolve. And I might be able to kill him next turn. I guess with open mana, I might be afraid of something like a Boomerang of his own. Sleight of hand is fine. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So if I were to go all in with Psychatog next turn, I would want to leave a counterspell up. I'd be able to discard the 3 other cards plus the card I draw, so that's 4 cards. Then I would have 13 cards in my graveyard. So that would be +6, so +10 to the Psychatog, 11, 12, 13. I could attack with 13, which would shut off the Ancient Tomb. If I were to end of turn Boomerang my own land, that basically just adds a card to my graveyard. So it would be an additional damage because I had 13. I don't think that'd be worth it. Okay, so Flooded Strand. Important targeting Lester. That's fine. I think I could just end a turn if... Has he played a land this turn? Yeah, he played Flooded Strand. I could just Boomerang the Temple. And then do I have... Then I might just be able to go for it and discard my entire hand, because I guess there could be a card like Chain of Vapor that I could be afraid of. But it still seems pretty good to bounce this Temple. Just put him behind on mana. It's going to make it so hard for him to cast that Dream Halls with a counter backup. Okay, so all right, he gets another card for Portent. Cunning Wish. That can get Gush, which I have to imagine is enough. Yeah, I'm going to Cunning Wish for Gush. And then I should be able to, I guess I didn't do the exact math of how much damage it is, but it seems pretty good here. I guess I need to play. So I think I need to play an island so I can do Counterspell, because if I were to go all in with exiling my library or my graveyard, then Circular Logic is not effective, so I would need blue. But I'd be able to discard 1, 2, 3. Then I would have, oh, and then 2 more cards. So yeah, I think that was enough anyway. So all right, so we took down game 1 and we'll move on to game 2. We're playing unsideboarded so far, so we'll see how the next game goes. Okay, we are back for game 2. Lester is on the play with the Dream Halls deck. I'm on the draw with Psychatog. I want to take a quick moment to once again thank DojoTradeBots for making this video possible. If you play Magic Online, check them out for all your Magic Online needs. And then if you do any shopping on TCG Player, I encourage you to check out their store there of Dojo Paper Trade Outlet to support them and support what I'm doing. I do not have any blue mana in this hand, so I'm going to mulligan. In this hand, yeah, this seems fine. I will keep. I'll put a swamp on the bottom. The Boomerang actually was pretty good last game. I think that's better than a land. I do have access to black mana with the Polluted Delta. Right. I'm not expecting to Vendetta anything right now, so I'll wait. There might be a spot. If I draw a black source, then I use a Polluted Delta for another blue, which might be more valuable. Right, so he has a City of Traders. Interesting. Now I'm kind of tempted to just bounce that temple. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna do it on his upkeep. Because that's just indicating that he just doesn't have other lands. And if he does, if he's playing something like Accumulated Knowledge here, that's fine by me. And then I'll Boomerang his land. Oh, Intuition. Okay. All right, I'll let him search the cards, and then I think I'm gonna Boomerang at a turn. I guess some number of Lotus Petals could throw this plan off, but it seems, ooh. All right, I guess he's getting a misdirection. That was not a card that I considered. Oh, I did not get priority there. Ooh. That's kind of awkward. All right, I guess I'll wait. I guess I got tricked by the intuition. Okay. Oh man. All right, so I think I will need to. Okay, so he's casting Dream Halls. So if you're not familiar with this card, rather than pay the mana for a spell, the controller may discard a card that shares a color with it to cast it. So that works for both players. I have to let it resolve. There. If he's just passing, I will accumulate knowledge, I guess. It is very awkward if he also has accumulated knowledges. And it is you do discard instead of exiling, so that is relevant if I had to discard another accumulated knowledge. So I guess there's no reason to wait. So here I could discard Vendetta to cast Psychatog. I think that's what I need to do. Because this Vendetta doesn't do anything. I guess there is the value of having just the Psychatog in my hand as a blue card. And here, I know he has a misdirection. And he wasn't willing to do anything before. Like, does untapping with 1 mana really change any of that? I think I'm more likely to want just more draw steps. I don't know. This kind of awkward because I know the boomerang is not going to be effective because he has a misdirection. So I guess here I could boomerang and then also mana leak. I mean, so boomerang discarding boomerang, and then mana leak his misdirection. Or I could wait a turn to try and draw another land. Because if he is misdirecting, he's going to be using 2 cards. Then he would need to have a counterspell. Could also be 2 cards. All right, I guess I'm going to do it. I think that I think the only thing that would backfire is like a sequence with like another intuition or accumulated knowledge, but we will see. Cast. We'll try and bounce this. Guess I should have done this before casting Psychatog. But changed my mind, I guess, with what I wanted to do. Meditate. Well, if I am trying to mana leak that, he can misdirection. So I'm kind of I let that happen. I mean, it also gives me another turn, which is kind of interesting. So that meditate has resolved, so I will get another turn after this. There's a misdirection. Does it tell me? So he doesn't. I don't know what he's going to redirect until it resolves. Yeah, I think I'm going to mana leak this. All right, so looks like that went just about as well as we wanted it to. With another turn, and I'll be able to draw 2 cards. But definitely in a tough spot. I wasn't sure exactly if that was how that stack fight was going to go. I thought he might have a counterspell or another way to do stuff. So I'm going to draw 2 cards. Hopefully one of them's a land or a blue spell. And that was enough for Lester. So the first 2 games go to the Psychatog deck. So we'll be back to look at the sideboard to see how that changes things. Alright, so we're looking at the sideboard for this deck. These Vendettas do not seem very good. And Duress and Cabal Therapy are cards that look good. This does have a semi-wish sideboard package, so not all the cards that are in the sideboard will be brought in. There's just a couple of Cunning Wish, and it kind of just provides like a soft toolboxy feel into the deck. So Wonder and Vendetta are not very good. And I'll have to find one more card that I want to take out for an extra discard spell. And I think I mean, the way the first two games played out, it might be just a fact or fiction. I think I'm actually going to do that. So we'll bring in these. Either way, I like where we're positioned. Okay, we are back for game 3 between Psychatog against Dream Halls. I am on the draw. Lester has decided to mulligan to 6. This hand is really reactive and doesn't really... There's no things that churn through your deck, like accumulated knowledge or mental note or anything. I also have 2 counter spells. Doesn't have any black mana. Cunning Wish is also like a pretty reactive card. I'm actually gonna mulligan this. I think the way our deck is set up is actually really advantage in the matchup, and I think it's just you can afford to mulligan. Looks like Lester's going down to 5. I'm gonna keep this. I'll put a Polluted Delta on the bottom. I guess since life total isn't really relevant, maybe Polluted Delta for an island is better, just for an extra card in the graveyard for Psychatog or Circular Logic. Alright, we have an Accumulated Knowledge, which is kind of an awkward spell given that we know that is in his deck as well, but I don't know if that means that we want to pull the trigger on it or wait till... I guess if I hit my land drops, then I'm going to wait to hold off on it. I will cast this mental note, obviously, at the end of turn. Though I guess it could put another accumulated knowledge in the graveyard if he had one. Alright, he'll cast the first AK. I'm okay with that. Does that make me want to use my accumulated knowledge for 2? I think it does. We'll see if he has any other copies of accumulated knowledge. Doesn't look like it. Okay. I am gonna get blue with this, most likely. Since I still have a Polluted Delta, but I'm looking to go... I guess I'll look at my deck. I might need 1 swamp, and since I have Mana Leak open this turn, and another land that I might be able to get the swamp. I guess there's like a slight fear of me milling all my black sources. So that's pretty unlikely. Alright, I will fetch. So, I mean, there's only 4 black spells. I'm going to get an island here. And I will cast Mental Note. Okay, there is a Psychatog. I milled 2 swamps. Okay. And then I drew a swamp. So here I will play a swamp. So in this spot, he doesn't have a bunch of blue mana, which would be my biggest fear. So I am going to run off this Psychatog. I have a Circular Logic for the Dream Halls on the way down. And then, oh, well, I guess if this is getting countered here, that's not something I... Opportunity. Okay. But even if the Dream Halls does resolve, I have 2 counter spells that I could play with it by discarding cards. So he does have 7 cards in hand, so could be a powerful turn for him. Sleight of hand is fine. I'm okay with that one. Especially just using a blue source, I think, is actually the thing I'm most excited about this turn. Because if I'm untapping with more blue mana, then things get really good for me. Impulse I'm okay with. Yep, all the card filtering I think is fine. Though I guess like maybe Misdirection is a card that it's a little bit awkward, but I don't want to use it on something like an impulse. Alright, he's playing an island, which makes him lose his City of Traders for future turns. Here's another sleight of hand. I'm okay with this. So he's churning through his deck. I don't know if he's just looking for a Dream Halls or if he's trying to set up a situation where he can try and protect it. But either way, I have just so many counter spells that I think it's gonna be tricky for him. Okay, so I have Circular Logic, Mana Leak, Circular Logic. I will play the Mishra's Factory this turn, and then the next turn I'll have more blue sources, but I'll get the factory in place so I can start chipping away with that too. Alright, 8 cards in hand, now there's 7. Alright, pretty quick pass, so he clearly had no intention of going off that turn. A second Psychatog really doesn't do that much. I'm just gonna, I guess I'll play this Polluted Delta, fire up this Mishra's Factory, and I'll chip in. Gotta figure out when I would be able to just go for lethal. There are 5 cards in my graveyard. There are 6 cards in my hand. I would only want to discard 5 of them. So I can give Psychatog +10/+10 and attack for 11, 12, 13 this turn. So next turn I can present lethal. Yeah, next turn I can present lethal with 2 counterspells back up because I'll draw another card. Accumulated knowledge for 2. I think I'm okay with just him drawing cards right now. He's got a, like, I will have Circular Logic, and Mana Leak / Counterspell next turn. So it's going to be, I think, very difficult for him to resolve a Dream Halls. Alright, tapping mana, I'm guessing this is a Dream Halls. I will discard Circular Logic. Okay. Target the Dream Halls. This is for 5. I'm guessing there's some form of misdirection here. Okay, so I'll let these resolve. Because I think there might be situations if I'm adding more cards to the stack, then future misdirections are awkward. I will use... Oh, did... Exile the Brain Freeze, cast Misdirection. Is this targeting itself now? It does. I'm assuming it is. Hopefully it worked. Okay. And now I do want to counter again. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another piece of interaction from Luster. Could be a counterspell. Okay, so here's another misdirection. Okay. And then I'm going to go for a Mana Leak. There are 5 cards in his hand currently. And that one resolves. It looks like we were able to win that counter war. I've definitely depleted my spells. So here let's see, I have, if I were to keep a counterspell in my hand. Alright, Lester threw in the towel, that was enough. But I want to calculate this damage. So if I were to keep a counterspell in my hand, I would discard 3. Then I would have 12 in my graveyard.